Hello guys, welcome back. So in this video, we're going to be going through what's in the Asamson website. Nothing fancy at this stage, but still very important. So we're just going to go through the layout and tell you where you can find stuff that's important for you and what the purpose of everything that's in there is exactly. So let's just go into the site. So if you don't remember the domain, it's www.asamson.co.za. I don't need to spell that. I'll just write that out. Like, no. Um, and then, you're going to just start off on the landing page, obviously. So, the idea behind this is that when I was a law student, to find information about anything related to the recruitment process, you'd have to speak to people. So you'd have to speak to people like your tutors, your lecturers. If you're fortunate enough to have a family member that's done law and has gone through the process themselves, then that was even better for you. But there wasn't any way where the items or the information was codified in a sense, and it was left there for you to go back, reference, download, share with others. It was always just either you are intuitive in your approach and then you just guess what's relevant, or you're very well researched and then you compile your own research on what exactly the whole process is going to look like. Um, I remember I did a lot of my research at a time when I had a gap year. So this was in 2015. I had the time, right? And I was very frustrated about my future. So it was only fair that I just at least inquire about what exactly it would entail. And one of the funniest things was that I found out that part of the recruitment process, or the journey towards becoming a lawyer, rather, was you doing articles in a law firm. Right now, articles are called practical vocational work, but a lot of people still use the word articles, and I think it's actually cool. I don't have a problem with it. But I actually thought articles was you go into a firm and then they lock you up in an office and you just keep writing a lot of things about the law, and you keep writing and you write for like 2 years. And then after 2 years, they just dish you out and they tell you, okay, your articles are good. We are ready to hire you because you've been studying and writing, only to find out that articles are just a fancy way of saying it's an internship. It's an internship within the law firm structure. Obviously, it's a bit more prestigious than a simple internship, if you ask me. I know a lot of people that don't do law would just know it's an internship actually, but I actually think it's actually much cooler than a normal internship, especially depending on where you do it, right? So the whole idea is when we were law students, getting articles was the key thing that we wanted. All of us wanted to be signed, as we called it at the time. And it was weird because we started likening it to getting your first record deal if you were a rapper. It's literally not that, but we treated it as if it was that. And the idea was that if you can get a contract from the most prestigious law firms in the country, then you're a made man, right? It was what we were all rushing towards, or what we were all competing towards. Um, by the time I was a first year student, I knew that you already had to apply to get articles in your second year, right? That's something that surprisingly a lot of my peers did not know about. I remember one person that in particular helped me a lot throughout my university journey was this other young lady, and we'd studied together. She was a very, very helpful friend. And in our fourth year, when we're not friends anymore, well, not that close, she asked me, she said, "Hey man, I've been getting distinctions, I've been doing very well. I want to know where can I just start applying for, getting articles." And I really thought she knew this. I really thought that she knew that we only had not only, but the key period was in your first year for you to get good marks that can impress the law firms. Then in your second year, that's when you start with your applications because you'll be using your first year's marks. And then in your third year, you're repeating that whole application process, assuming you've not been successful. And you do it until eternity, essentially, until you get what you want. But it was very heartbreaking to know that she literally did not apply, both literally and intentionally did not apply anywhere up until it was her fourth year in varsity, which was, detrimental, if you could say that, just for her opportunities, because she could have started much more earlier. She could have highlighted herself much more earlier to the type of environments that she was trying to get to. But it all worked out for the best, and I want to make sure that this website at least covers that part because it's a crucial part. And worst case scenario is you find out about all the stuff that's in here in your third year or your fourth year, because by that time a lot of your peers have already gotten their interviews, they've already gotten to get the lay of the land, they've gotten a few reps in just trying to impress law firms, and you do not want to be the person that starts that process in your third year or in your fourth year. So in my view, it's helpful that in your first year you're already obsessing about these things. You're already trying to get to know what's what, where is it, how do I get into it. And I think the website is going to be very helpful, at least at this stage, for that part of the work. So let's get started. The key thing that you're going to find here is our message around what we intend to help you with. Um, we're trying to help you craft your path to success. And if you view success as you getting the type of job that you want, then this is going to be a helpful guide for that, right? I want a big law firm. That's your path to success, or that's the path you intend to take for success. Um, I want a specific law firm, whether big or not, that does this type of work because this type of work is what I'm fascinated about. um, you getting there is your part to success, right? Or at least you getting there is gonna, your intention to get there is gonna shape your path to getting, well, the success you want there. Okay, that was a lot of word salad. I'm just gonna jump into the website, right? The first thing I'd like to introduce you guys to is the concept of a well-rounded person. I'm hoping a lot of you guys have heard this if you've been to career fairs, or if you've just been speaking with tutors or other people that know a bit more about the process. So I used to get this a lot whenever we'd go to career fairs. We'd get there, there's like 100 booths, and there's a lot of associates, HR people, other people that are just representing the respective law firms that they come from. And then when you ask them, "Hi, what does your firm want?" They'd start telling you, obviously, we want great marks. And that's important. Like that's very important. And then they'd start telling you about, well, we want a well-rounded candidate. And I found that insulting. My head is not round. So either you trying to say something or you just trying to exclude me. They weren't talking about the head. Um, well-rounded concept or well-rounded person concept is essentially you're not just there to pass exams. In fact, you're not even there to pass exams if they take you. So what are you there to do? You're there to speak. You're there to do research. You're there to do or formulate arguments. You're there to formulate counters to arguments. You're there to have administrative capabilities, essentially to look around what would make your job easier or make the job of your colleagues easier and implement that from an admin perspective. You're also there to be a pillar to all your bosses, all your peers, everyone that you work with. So a well-rounded person is someone who encompasses much more than just what the university life expects from you. If your lecturers expect you to study your material and then write an exam, being a lawyer is a totally different game, right? Being a lawyer is you have to speak like one, you have to think like one, you have to be presentable like one. You have to have the confidence of one. And all that requires that you have particular mindset and particular skill sets, and they all require different part of your capabilities. So I'm going to go into this guide in more detail in a video, but you're going to see it there. It's built as a Prezi guide or as a Prezi presentation instead of just pages, because you have to see how everything fits into place. You have to see how, if you're zooming into this aspect of your capabilities, what's supposed to be there. If maybe you are going into my hard skills, what exactly is that aspect supposed to look like for a firm to be confident that I'm somebody that they want? If we're looking at soft skills, same thing. If we're looking at your network and your capability to be social and have interpersonal skills, what does that look like, especially to impress a law firm, right? We're trying to help you understand what you'd have to be or who you'd have to be holistically in order for a law firm to nod their head and be like, that's our guy. It's going to be easier for others to be that holistic person, that well rounded person. For other people, it's going to be, I mean, a bit challenging. I know for myself, there's certain things that I needed to be a bit more intentional about and try to work on in order for me to be that impressive. You might find that you're great at getting great marks. Like you'd kill every exam, even with less preparation. But you have, I don't know, social anxiety, so you can't network for um, or maybe you're good at the networking part, but maybe your hard skills are just, they need a bit more work. So the concept of a well rounded person is that there must be as few weaknesses in your profile as possible. In fact, you're better off scoring a 60 on every aspect of your profile than you becoming a 90 in, I don't know, speaking, but then you are a 20 in terms of reasoning and formulating arguments. So now you're just speaking gibberish in a sense. Or maybe you're a 90 in getting great marks, but your interpersonal skills are just non existent. You piss off people when you're around people. So it's all those little things that you just need to be aware of. And the whole well-rounded person presentation in our website tries to dive into that. It's basically what are the dynamics of a very, very good lawyer and how can you work on those in order to, well, how can you work on yourself in order to express that well-rounded version of yourself, if I could say so. Cool. And then we also have guides within the Asamson website. And the guides are meant to help you with essentially understanding the different aspects of the recruitment process, like I've been saying. Let's start with like the most obvious one, right? In a sense that you're going to need to start with applying. Seems easy enough. I mean, you've probably done your university applications, like, oh, just fill in a form. But when it comes to applying to law firms, there's very, very tricky things that not everyone is going to be able to intuitively know about. Sometimes you'll just do two applications and then get them. With other people, it might take a few tries before you are aware of what are the pitfalls, what are their key expectations, what are the timelines, what are the strategies that can help you just either get the applications through quicker or get them through at all. Because sometimes you could keep applying and it could be cycle after cycle after cycle where you're not getting any replies. So we're hoping to at least outline that whole process, just the applications part, before we even get to interviews, before you even get to vacation work. Just literally, how do you sit down and apply to a law firm? How do you make them take you seriously? How do you get them excited to meet you and invite you over into their firm? So that's going to be the guide on applications. It's a very, very well, it's not comprehensive in a sense that there's a lot of different types of ways a law firm can structure its applications. So we obviously cannot cater for all the type of applications you're going to come across, but we can give you like the key things that you literally have to either be aware of or work on. So I hope that's useful for you. If you have any further questions, you can drop them in the comments and we'll try our best to address them. Chances are your question is going to be good and it's going to be useful to more people besides just yourself. So I encourage you to ask it, no matter how you feel about the question, just ask it. We also have a guide on interview preparation. With this one, it was tricky because there's a lot of good resources on how to do interviews. There's a lot of people that are either career coaches or HR personnel that do content, whether it's on YouTube, Instagram. Personally, I've been following a lot of that type of content. I follow a lot of people that are helpful to my ambitions in a sense. So, with that, I was trying to think of a way in which we can have a good guide on interviews, but one that doesn't give you the obvious stuff that you'll find everywhere, you know? So if you read the guide, it will really give you a sense of what the action is about with interviews, particularly within the context of a law firm. So I hope that's useful as well. Again, if you have any questions, even if you want to tell us, no, this is not how it works. I've done like 5 interviews. None of what you said here is how things work. I did my interviews and my recruitment process about 5 years ago. So a lot of this may have changed. I don't know how much, but I bet you it hasn't changed. Literally, I bet you it hasn't changed. So that's one of our guides there. And I'd like you to like read it and take your time. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. The next guide is Guide on Vacation Work. Now, with this one, you start off with applying to law firms, and they'll either call you to do vacation work and then do the interview after, or they'll start you off with an interview with the intention that after you're done with the interview, they'll call you in for vacation work. Regardless of how things go, vacation work is one of the most wonderful opportunities that you can get during your varsity years. Let's start with the obvious one. Most law firms will actually pay you to do vacation work. So not only will they put you inside their home, in a sense, teach you all the ropes, even if it's just for 2 weeks, but they'll actually even pay you, which means it's not going to be a waste of your time, literally. Um, Number two, when you get into the vacation work programs, you usually meet people that are going to be your friends moving forward, because you'll find that you're cut from the same cloth as they are. You are one of the most ambitious people that you know, and they're also ambitious. You'll find that a lot of them have similar stories, whether it's stories of success, whether it's stories of struggle, whatever it is. I found that a lot of the people that I did vacation work with, I think actually all of them, we're still friends till this day. Even if we don't speak every day, we still connect. So it was just nice getting to be exposed to a whole group of people that I didn't select, but that was selected on the same basis as I was. They all impressed the same way I did, just to be in that room. So you can literally feel like, it's almost like the Avengers, actually, especially your first vacation work. It's like, okay, I don't like Hulk here, but he's strong and I'm strong. So hopefully we can get some damage or bring some damage about. So the whole idea behind the vacation work guide is to give you a peep into what happens inside vacation work programs. Again, a lot of these are going to differ from firm to firm, even the periods, right? The firm I did vacation work at does their vacation work for 1 week, whereas other firms, they do it for 2 weeks. Other firms only do it in winter. Other firms do it in both winter and summer. Not sure if you want to spend your December being around lawyers, but I mean, it's an opportunity nonetheless, right? So, the whole idea with these three guides is to just give you a nice preview of what's to come for you, and to give you, or at least equip you with the right mindset and tools on how to take advantage of every opportunity, how to take advantage of every opening for applications, how to take advantage of each interview that you get, and how to take advantage of the whole vacation work process. Why that's important, I'm going to do another video on essentially the journey towards getting into a law firm, how all of these things feed into each other. And essentially, it's going to paint a good picture for you that if you still have any questions, you're not just going to be asking them from a place of oblivion. Well, you're not going to be oblivious, but you're going to have some basis for, okay, I get this, but I don't get that, right? So, yeah, let me know. Another part of the Samsung website that's going to be important for you, very important for you, is our list of law firms. So the idea is almost everybody will apply to the same obvious places, which is the big five law firms, as well as some of the more prominent firms that will come to your career fairs, or some that will come on other days where it's not career fairs, but they're trying to promote themselves. Um, Not everyone is going to get to work for those firms. Not everyone is going to get interviews in those firms. there's always a limited amount of opportunities within particular law firms, which are the high end ones. But it's not just high end firms that exist. There is thousands of law firms in the country. They might not all be as equally prestigious. They might not all pay as much, but it helps to at least be mindful of the vastness of the employment opportunities that are out there. They're vast, but also limited. It's a tricky one because not every graduate is going to get a job, and not every graduate that gets a job is going to get the job they want. But I think it's helpful if the starting point is I knew how much there was in the first place. It's almost as if you're gonna cast your net wide, you might as well know how much fish there is up for grabs. Maybe your net won't even catch one, but I bet you if you didn't even know where the fish were and you just threw the net, you're probably not even catching any. I hope that makes sense. So we have a very, very good list for you guys of law firms. We are gonna do this in a video because the list is not sorted according to anything. It's not sorted according to prominence of law firms, according to salaries, according to employment, according to training opportunities that exist within that firm. It's just a list. So when we do our video going through the law firms that exist within the country, we're gonna try and explain the different dynamics. Who pays more, which is what people usually want to know about, even though, in my view, that's actually, you're not even supposed to worry about that until you got a job offer. But we're going to go into things like the training opportunities that exist within each law firm. By training opportunities, I mean law firms don't just hire you for articles and then you just there doing the work. Some do. In fact, most do that. But then the most prestigious law firms will actually take their time to groom you further. They'll teach you things that you didn't learn in university and couldn't have learned in university. They'll teach you their own best practice. They'll teach you their own tools within the firm, whether it's for technology, whether it's for social interaction, whatever. They'll literally try to be a second school for you. So you're going to look into that, which firms are actually good for that, which firms are good for the most ambitious career trajectories. Like if you're saying, hey man, I want to work overseas like in 5 years after I graduate, which firms will give you the platform to at least stand a chance to do that as soon as possible. So when we go through that, we're going to select specific law firms within this list. If you're a very active person who's doing the research and is already on the job already, like you're already trying your best to understand these things, some of the things we're going to speak about are going to be familiar to you. But if you haven't learned or taken the time to like be curious about certain things, we're going to try to like catch you up to speed and make sure that again our sali imove because it is a Samson. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was just a brief outline. I encourage you to go to the website. There is a sign up feature. You don't have to pay anything. The sign up is just that we can have a good understanding of who's coming in and who's coming out, right? That way we can see, okay, this university is lacking in perhaps participants. So maybe we need to reach out a bit more to them. Maybe we can see which people from which universities are also commenting on our social media stuff. That way we can also try and, answer them as promptly as possible. Make sure that, given that you're the most active people and the most curious people, how can we actually give you a bit more attention just so that it can be worth your while? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you can just, that thingy right there, that thingy right there. Yeah, I'll make a video explaining why that's important, particularly because everything that you're gonna get from a Samsung is free, but there is still some level of commercialization that's happening in the background, and part of you participating in that is you doing the whole like, share, subscribe thingy there. So yeah, see you in the next video, and thank you very much.